What is going on, party people, and welcome back to the Nerdwide podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Haynes, with my good friend and co-host, Chris Rivers.
What's happening?
Oh, it has been a fun-filled week of video game stuff. Today is Sunday,
Yeah.
which was the Xbox showcase. Best show they've had by far in at least 10 years. Best show in a long time that I can even think of, period. Showed a lot of fun games, a lot of games I'm really personally interested in, a lot of games coming to the future, to the near future, like Starfield even had an update that's already out now that you can play with mods and things like that. So I might jump into that tonight if I've got time. I doubt it, but it's been a good week so far. What about you? Besides you having the internet issues, how was your week?
Mm. Outside of that, it was pretty good. I lost some sleep toward the end of the week because I had some more stuff delivered.
Hmm.
Um, so I had to be up early for that, and then
Oh,
you know how delivery times are,
yeah.
where it's
Give you like a
like
6 hour window.
they gave me a 4 hour window one day, and they still missed it.
Yeah, same.
So, and I'm like, well, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
I Yeah. So there was one day I went on 3 hours sleep. One day I went on an hour sleep,
Nope.
and I crashed pretty hard when I came in Friday night.
Mm. Mm-mm. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I have to have my sleep, and like I know Friday night I slept terrible. Last night
Yeah,
luckily slept better, but then we had randomly our power went out in the middle of the night last night. I guess they're working on the substation nearby here, so they cut the substation power. They turned it back on like 3 minutes later. Because I'm a very light sleeper. It's like any noise will wake me up, and I heard everything shut down. Like it said, I was like, oh no. I was like, that's panic for a minute. I was like, is it storming? And then it wasn't, and then it just came right back on. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. Because
they
of
could
course
noti- they could notify people. You
they
know,
usually do. I don't know why they didn't this time. So that's maybe it wasn't planned, but who knows?
it'd be bad if you had a loved one at home that was on life
Yeah,
saving.
oxygen stuff like that.
Yeah,
It kind of needs to be notified, but whatever.
right.
Um, well, anyways, guys, welcome back to the Nerdwide podcast. This is episode 155 of this lovely show. Don't forget to subscribe to either our YouTube or podcasting service of your choice because we are quite literally everywhere you could get a podcast show. If you enjoy the show, make sure you leave us a thumbs up on YouTube or give us a good rating for whatever podcasting service and or app you do use. If you don't enjoy what you see or hear, let us know down in the comments below. Things we can fix, things that aren't working, things like that. We don't know if we can't fix it. We don't know if it's broke. Period. If you want to do more, you can always go to patreon.com/nerdwide. 3 different tiers for the different monthly, annual subscriptions. Get your episodes early, respond with us, have talks with us. If you want us to watch, read, play anything, that is the place to do it. And we would greatly appreciate that. But Chris, with this hectic
Hmm.
week, have you been watching anything fun?
No, just what we had to watch for the show. That's all I had time for.
Usually, that's what I would say. But this week, my lovely wife in there has binge watched all of season 2, all of season 3, and I can hear the episode right now. She is halfway through Gen V season 1.
Ah,
So she will be caught up for the boys this week, and she is loving it. I asked her if she wanted to come on the show and talk about it. She says no. That's okay. Well, sure. So, and to talk about Logan. Logan's one of her favorite movies of all time. I
yeah.
was like, "Are you sure you don't want to talk about it?" She goes, "Yeah, we're good." I said, "Okay, to each their own then." But I've been catching bits and pieces as I've been going. Destiny had their last 10-year expansion. I cried this past week, yesterday. So how Destiny works, it's a live service game. It's kind of like World of Warcraft. They do an expansion every so often. Here lately, it's been like every year, and they have for the past 10 years. And the best way I can describe it is Avengers Endgame level. Like they told a whole saga over 10 years, and it ended this week. And then they had a raid Friday that launched at noon that nobody beat until I think it was like 20 hours in. So people were playing this game 20 hours, and a lot of people, like I watched Astacross last night. he played him and his fire team did not beat it until 33 hours straight. So I've played a lot of games before, multiple marathon games before, none past 24 hours ever. I can't. But
That's dedication.
right. And so what Bungie does is when the raid gets beat, they release the last mission of the expansion. And of course, it was the ending of it all. It was a culmination of everything. It was Avengers Endgame level. Like all your support characters come in to absolutely wonderful. And I cried. Yeah. It was beautiful. Dear God, it was great.
So did anyone say on your 6?
No, it was more of like a motivational speech kind of thing, and I hate it because Lance Reddick, his character was one that would have given it. I forget Keith. I forget who took over. I know it's Keith's his name. I always blank on it.
Keith David
took over. Did a fantastic job, by the way. But that's what made it hurt a little bit more yesterday. It's because Lance loved Destiny and playing it, and he always played it. He would have loved this ending, and I hate it. But life's too short, so live your moments when you can. But phenomenal game. Like I'm excited, and so Corbin even asked me. He said, "So it's like, is it over?" I said, "No." I said, "Think of it like Avengers Endgame. That saga is over, but it's still going to continue on." And they've got a video documentary tomorrow saying, "Hey, this is what's coming up next." So I'm like, we'll see.
So for those people who didn't want to jump in the middle of a saga, get ready because they're about to launch a new one.
Yeah, and we'll see what the future of Destiny looks like. I mean, I've got Destiny stuff all littered throughout my home. I've got these. I've got my Ghost sitting right up here. I mean, I've got stuff everywhere. So it was very beautiful and very great, and I can't speak highly of it, how great it was. But that being said, that's what I've been doing all week. So I would when I go to the bathroom and stuff, I would catch her watching The Boys and things like that. And I would catch myself pausing my game, then coming here and sitting watching and catching up. Like last night, I watched the finale of season 3, so I made sure I was caught up with everything. And Gen V is still fresh in my mind because that was earlier this year, so I'm not really too worried about that one. But that being said, let's get into our shows. Full-on spoilers for X-Men 97, Episode 7, titled Bright Eyes. We're going to comicbook.com by Jenna Anderson for the full spoiler-filled recap. Gambit's funeral is held as Nightcrawler eulogizes him. I guess that's how you say that. Eulogizes him? Eulogies him? Eulogies. I like that better. Most of the team attends except for Rogue, whose absence upsets Jubilee. Meanwhile, we see Rogue flying to military base and fight soldiers asking for Trask and Girick's location. This leads her to a base in a snow-capped mountain where she and Captain America reluctantly team up and share information. Was not expecting that whatsoever.
No, at all.
She just walks through the snow and then the shield just comes flying out right in front of her.
Yeah.
And she said, what she said, I should have expected you to be here. I was like, come on, man.
So, going back, though, well, first off, I was surprised because, with these sorts of shows, you always wonder, is the person really dead? So we got a funeral.
Right.
Which I think makes it a little more fun.
Yeah.
But we also got an appearance from Thunderbolt Ross.
Yes, like a very small one, but he was there, and I was expecting that. I was not expecting it, but I thought that was gonna be the only cameo we got.
Right.
And then we hear ding, and here's a shield.
Well, Ross makes the comment that because these guys are worried at what Rogue's doing outside, and he makes the comment like, "Look, this place was built to contain the Hulk."
Right. I mean, he just.
And she comes busting through, which makes me... Did she find Bruce Banner?
And take some of his power.
And lay hands on him.
Because she was strong.
Yeah, she came through there no problem.
Yeah, hell hath no fury. She was pissed and was not having it. And let me see. Captain America reveals that both Trask and Girick are tied to some sort of mystery organization only known as OZT. Rogue asks Captain America to go with her to find Girick in Mexico City, but he refuses, arguing that it will send the wrong message. This is my favorite part, I think, this whole episode. When he says his hands are tied, she throws his shield into the mountains, arguing that he won't be needing it anymore. perfect. And she chucked that bad boy. It's like, yeah, good luck. And he goes, and of course, played by the wonderful Josh Keaton.
You understand because like he goes in there in the red, white, and blue, and he's operating on foreign soil, and it's like, oh, you can't do that.
Whereas the X-Men are already treated as scum and lowest the low, so who cares if she's in Mexico at this point?
Right.
She tracks down Garrick to Mexico City and uses her powers on him, absorbing a vision of Nimrod and a man tied to him in the process. The president tries to shut down rescue efforts in Genosha. This irritates Scott in part because of Madeline's body is still unaccounted for. Jean sympathizes in part because she was starting to regard Madeline as a sister of sorts. The X-Men travel to Genosha and help with a cleanup effort as Beast speaks with Trish Tilby about the problems mutant kind is facing. Which, I was like, okay, we're getting a little love interest going between Trish and Beast. I really liked it, but he was like, oh, you're here without your cameras this time, and blah, blah, blah. Very cool twist coming up. I don't think it's next episode, but still, when we get there. Jean and Scott search through Genosha's central building to search for survivors and end up finding Emma Frost, who is able to survive through a new mutation that can activate her diamond form. As Emma is rescued, Scott still cries over the loss of Madeline. Very complex character they're making Scott out this season. It's very cool of how they're going through his emotions of how someone would really be if this happened. I just thought it was very good writing here.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jubilee convinces Roberto to tell his parents he's a mutant, arguing that they deserve to hear from him directly instead of finding out when he's killed. They visit Roberto's mom, where he simply tells her, hey, he's a mutant. While she is privately accepting of it and admits that she always expected he was, she argues it needs to be kept out of the public for the sake of her company. I mean, there's canoe material here.
Yeah.
Trash sends a message to the X-Men, leading them to a building in Madripoor, which we've heard before, by the way. Overcome by grief, Rogue is visited by Nightcrawler and the X-Men, who bring her with them to Trask's location. The building reveals a secret lab containing extremely advanced Sentinel prototypes. They see Trask about to throw himself off of a building because he is worried about the future of the Sentinel program will cause destruction even worse than Genosha. Rogue nearly stops him, grabbing him by the scruff of his coat before throwing him off the building. I mean, love it. This causes ire for the team as they wonder if they're really endorsing killing. This also activates a secret Sentinel technology that he has been bonded with, which sends him on a killing spree against the X-Men. To be fair, though, Rogue didn't kill him. So, nothing crazy here. Cable shows up to offer the X-Men aid, and Jean and Scott realize that Cable is really baby Nathan all grown up.
I do love, though, that when she throws... Is it Nightcrawler who says... Rogue, what have you done?
Yeah.
And Wolverine's like, what all of us wanted to do.
And Wolverine in this show is so funny. Like, it's just very honest and very, pretty much different than what we get like in Logan and, the other X-Men movies. So,
yeah.
Sinister meets up with a mysterious man who has been spearheading his new Sentinel efforts and who reveals that he knows that Charles is alive. He promises to help vanquish the X-Men once and for all. The man then travels to a vacant barbershop where he's holding a very alive Magneto who is being restrained with a power-dampening collar. This man, Bastion, taunts him by using a metal razor to shave Magneto's face. Is there nothing more just kind of badass but kind of villainous than being tied into a chair and then someone using a straight razor on you to shave your face? It's scary, but it's also kind of badass. I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
And then part 1 of the 3-part Tolerance is Extinction 4 episode was 8 of X-Men 97. Cyclops worries about how to handle Cable's arrival and about whether or not he failed him as a father. Cable teaches the X-Men about Bastion and how he created the Prime Sentinels with a techno-organic virus in an attempt to create a new race. As Cable reveals any surviving mutants in this future were put to work and he is unable to stay in the time and place of the Genosha massacre long enough to stop it. Beast argues that this massacre is a fixed point in the timeline, which explains why the Watcher was watching.
Yep.
Cable and Cyclops bicker about how to handle Bastion, but are interrupted by the news that Charles' survival has been made public.
Whoops.
Right. Oopsies. Didn't know they had cameras up there. Jean tries to help repair Rogue's mind. Nightcrawler and Jean bond over Madeline as Jean argues that she and Madeline share the emotions around each other's memories. Nightcrawler tells her of his and Rogue's relationship as siblings and argues that family can be found outside of blood relatives. Kind of cool that Jean and Madeline were kind of syncing together, because she goes, I don't know what memories were hers sometimes, and I don't know what memories were mine. I thought that was very well way to kind of say, hey, we're kind of retconning this, but not retconning this, and it's just the way their ESP works. Really cool.
Yeah.
Val Cooper finds Mr. Sinister, who is holding Magneto hostage. She apologizes for the role she had in the massacre. This is a big plot twist to me. I did not see this coming at all. She kind of just walks in and goes, where is he? I was like, interesting. Because she was there on Genosha.
Yeah.
So could have easily went sideways. But Bastion monologues to hear about his role in Genosha, as he knew it would help topple humanity's feelings towards mutants. From video screens, Dr. Doom and Zemo voiced their opinions on Bastion's launch of the Sentinel program. Bastion shows Val Operation Zero Tolerance, experiments that infect mutant-hating humans with a techno-organic virus. While these humans are brainwashed not to remember their infection, they are able to be activated at a moment's notice. Awesome. That is just so cool. And then having Dr. Doom, I saw Dr. Doom speak. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And then goes straight to Baron Zemo. I was like, okay.
This was the biggest cameo episode
Yes.
that I think we've had.
Jean, Cyclops, and Cable travel to a town, more specifically Bastion's hometown. They visit his childhood home and are greeted by his mother. She praises her son's art skills, including a rendering of the Sentinels attacking the X-Men. Not creepy at all. Not creepy at all, this old lady just sitting in a house, pretty much abandoned. But sure, that's fine.
Yeah, they walk in, she's like, my son told me you would be coming for me.
Yeah, but you won't be here till tomorrow. What?
Yeah. Oh, and you've just been sitting in the dark waiting.
In this decrepit house. Sure, yeah, why not? She praises her son's art skills, including Jean is able to sense Bastion's origin story. His dad was infected with Nimrod's Sentinel technology, which led to his birth as a Sentinel-human hybrid. Bastion's mom is activated as a Sentinel, as the entire population of the town is as well. They begin to flee, but the Blackbird is swarmed with them, so they crash the plane and use a car in the back of the ship to escape. Jean telepathically drives the car through the horde of Sentinels as Gambit and Cyclops... That's not Gambit. Cyclops and Cable fend them off. Come on, Jenna. It's not Gambit. Gambit's dead. Trish Tilby visits Beast to apologize, but I love this. This is what I was talking about earlier. Trish Tilby visits Beast to apologize, but is ultimately awoken as a Sentinel, along with members of the civilians across the globe. Crazy. I was like, oh, okay, Beast is getting a nice little love story here. We got a reporter trying to help out and things like that. No. Just another bad guy. Just the writing on this show, superb. Phenomenally superb. She and a handful of other Sentinels begin destroying the X-Mansion as Wolverine, Morph, and Nightcrawler, armed with swords, start fighting them off. Roberto and Jubilee stay with Roberto's mom, who is throwing a benefit for Genosha, but still disagrees about the topic of mutants, which is it's what happens today too. So I mean, at the mall, Jubilee suits up in a version of her black costume before Roberto's butler is activated as a Sentinel, and they need to flee to escape. Roberto flies through the city as they try to outrun Sentinels. They crash into Roberto's mom's gala, where she instructs him to listen to the Sentinels and to surrender.
Yeah.
Just saying.
They're everywhere.
Just saying. Head douche canoe material for this episode. Bastion visits the mansion, now ablaze, only to learn that Val let Magneto escape. He teleports back to his lair while Val tells him that culturally apathy around Genosha helped her realize that Magneto is right. Which we got a whole lot of... I understand a lot of people's tweets now help saying Magneto was right. It's like the whole Thanos thing that happened. So, I mean, Magneto was right, though.
Yeah.
Magneto flies to the North Pole and uses his superpowers to send shockwaves throughout the world, disabling the Sentinels. Spider-Man, Silver Samurai, Omega Red, and more are shown reacting to the worldwide blackout. Charles finally arrives at the mansion and sends out a distress call. To me, my X-Men. Oh, again, it's one of those episodes took everything in me not to continue watching.
Yeah.
Because we got 2 episodes left of this season, and it is awesome. Like, good Lord, are they on just killing it. Like, I cannot wait to see where we go from here.
So usually I'll wait till because we record Sundays. I'll usually wait till Saturday night to watch. I'm not going to be able to do that this week.
No. I want to know how it ends.
Yeah.
And as soon as I could possibly see it.
Now, I'll probably rewatch it Saturday night.
Right.
But, yeah. I'm going to have to see it before that.
I just think this is one of our better shows we've talked about and reviewed, especially, I know it's not really an MCU show, but I mean, it's right up there. Because, I mean, it's like those cameos we got right there at the end. Spider-Man, I was like, oh, cool, that's pretty cool. Then Silver Samurai in Japan. And then we see Omega Red being woken up out of his chamber. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Man, what a ending this was. And then Charles just, to me, my X-Men.
Yep.
Excellent day. I want to talk about another excellent show. My Adventures with Superman, Season 2, Episode 4. And this is on comicbook.com by Nick Valdez. Hey, did you notice these episodes start airing Saturday nights or Sunday mornings?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I thought it was supposed to be like a Thursday night thing, but whatever. General Lane continues staying with Jimmy and Clark, but he's only gotten more paranoid as the days have gone by. When Jimmy receives a package from Star Labs inviting him to a symposium because of his work with Flamebird and the fact that he's Superman's best friend, General Lane gets a mysterious text message saying that they're on to him. After the opening credits, it's revealed that Clark has yet to have a proper talk to Lois after learning about his cousin. As he fails to connect with her, Jimmy invites him to be his +1 at the symposium. We're on episode 4.
Yeah.
And these people can just not talk to each other. There is one trope at the end I did not really appreciate or like, but it is what it is. Keeps the show going. We'll talk about it when we get there. Meanwhile, when Lois heads to Clark and Jimmy's place to check in on her father, she finds that he's left. Flashing back to when she was a kid, it's revealed that her father actually tried to train Lois in the woods on survival and location tracking techniques ever since she was very young. But the young Lois herself is more concerned about her sick mother. In the early stages of the relationship, Lois and her father seem to get along just fine. Back in the present, we see Jimmy and Clark enjoy the sights at the symposium while Lois tracks down her father to a secret weapons bunker. She's angered at the fact that he tried to slip away again without telling her, implying that he's done this a few times in the past, and he won't really explain himself either. But soon they're attacked by Damage, who also track down General Lane. At the symposium, it's revealed that Jimmy was actually invited for an anti-Superman debate titled The Superman Problem, where he has to go head-to-head with Lex Luthor. Lex and her father slip into the sewers and briefly escape Damage, and General Lane has a flashback to another moment of their shared training. As a teenager, Lois is growing distant as her constant moving due to his work means that she's not been able to keep any friends. At the same time, she's also feeling like her father's been distancing himself from her after her mother has passed, and it's only caused more of a rift in the relationship. Still, they continue their survival training. Back in the present, General Lane tells Lois that while he was trying to prepare her for the world, he believes now that there are things he wished differently. The two of them don't get much time to explore this as Atomic Skull finds them in the sewer and it begins his attack. Back at the symposium, Jimmy tries to defend Superman as someone who's only done what's best for Earth, but Lex twists all of his words to better instill fear in Superman instead just because he's an alien. He urges humanity to better secure themselves against this alien threat, and Jimmy can't find the words to debate against him. He is shocked by saying that Earth is just for the Earthlings. I mean, he's got good, valid points, Lex does.
Yeah.
But it's the classic Superman Lex arrangement we got going on here.
Yeah. Jimmy comes into it because Jimmy's so close to it.
Right.
You know, he can't make an intellectual argument. Mm-hmm. He can only make an emotional one.
Well, and he's trying to protect his best friend too, and it's a hard line to toe there.
Yeah.
So, because you could easily Clark wouldn't do that. Superman wouldn't do that. He wouldn't even cheat on a math test. Or something like that.
Right.
So.
And it just doesn't sound.
Yeah. It's because we're still new to Superman in this world. Like Superman's still new here. So. General Lane and Lois head to a pawn shop to speak with the one who tipped him off, Winslow Scott, who is ready to give the general a passport and a way out. But while Lois argues with her father about his desire to just leave, Deathstroke appears and it's revealed that Schott actually lured him out so that Deathstroke, Atomic Skull, and Damage could kill him. Attacking Lois and her father, the fight eventually breaks its way to Star Labs as the symposium debate continues. Like, it was pretty much next door. Thought that was kind of convenient. But it was in the script. The two fight them off until Superman arrives and Lois grabs a piece of tech that helps them escape by turning them invisible. After the fight ends, Superman is the only one left in the Star Labs wreckage while Lex walks out with the rest of the scientists. Using this as an example of how easily Superman destroys all of the advanced technology they have developed to defend themselves, it really hammers his point that Superman really could be dangerous to humanity. After this, Lex thanks Jimmy for inspiring him, and Superman himself is shocked to see Jimmy might have had a hand in all of this as well. Lois brings her father back to her own apartment, and he notes that anything's better than living with Clark. It's here he says something's off about Clark and that he's weird, and Lois agrees. Clark overhears this as he's trying to check in on Lois, but sadly leaves before he hears her explaining that her father, that being different is why she loves him. I don't like this kind of trope.
Yeah. The whole misunderstanding because you don't stay to hear the whole thing.
Right. And if you just had the whole conversation, it would have been fine. That's my big thing. If you weren't there, if you would listen to the whole conversation, it would have been fine. But anyways. Lois, while Lois thanks her father for staying, General Lane is only focused on how she's been hurt and everything that happened throughout this day. Lois then leaves a message with Clark at how she said she couldn't get in touch with him and they'll talk later, but this only makes Clark feel more alone. It's here that he finally activates the connecting beacon to send a message to his cousin, where he introduces her and wonders if she's felt as alone as he does. The next day, Lois finds her father slipped out in the middle of the night, and a final flashback revealed that what separated them in the first place was that her father disappeared and forced her to search through a forest to find him. Revealing it to be a final test, she's angered that he would have attempted something so heartbreaking, as he abandoned her in the first place and thus decides to just live on her own in spite of him. As the episode ends, it's revealed that Lex and Amanda Waller are getting the full support from Star Labs, the Pentagon, and other scientists now into full support in dealing with Superman. Meanwhile, while Lex states that the Earth will be safer than ever with all of them in charge, the mysterious Kryptonian armor seen in the first episode is now hovering over the Earth. Dun, dun, dun. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
It's time.
I think we can definitively say, well, we can argue here for Dushkanu. The mom, Roberto's mom, versus Lex Luthor. I would say Roberto's mom's a little bit more. Yeah, that's okay. So we're all in agreement there.
What is her name? I can't remember her name.
You know what? I'm going to Google it. Roberto's mom, X-Men 97. Because I feel like they said it, and I just don't remember. Yeah. Nina. Hey, Nina. Let's see. I'm going to type Roberto's mom. / Nina. For one. And then our hero of the week.
I mean, you could argue for Magneto.
Yeah, you could argue for Magneto.
You could argue for Rogue, probably. I mean.
Yeah, she did kill the dude. Or attempt to kill the guy. Got some answers. Captain America, not the hero. For sure.
No.
Superman, I don't think there was anything really in My Adventures with Superman.
So is it Magneto?
I'm down for Magneto. That's awesome.
Okay.
And then we've got Magneto. His first entry as well. And don't really have any news for you guys. Actually, I don't have any news. Besides releases this week, we've got The Boys Season 4. The first 3 episodes premiere Thursday, June 13th on Prime Video. And yes, we will return back to The Boys universe and talk about all 3 episodes. So we're going to have 2 episodes, which are the final ones of X-Men. We'll have 1 episode of My Adventures with Superman, and then 3 episodes of The Boys. Start off running. Love it.
Running.
I can't wait.
So on to movies. Have you watched anything else?
No, we didn't get a chance to watch anything this week. What about you? Anything?
No, I watched Logan, and that was it. However, I do want to touch on something. Normally, I would save this for the news section. I forgot to email this to you. I'm not going to read the whole thing. So Brian Lowry on CNN did a review of Bad Boys Ride or Die, which came out last week, right? Now I've seen Cody Leach on YouTube review this. He's a fan of the franchise. He gave it like a 3.75 out of 5.
It's not bad.
Urge people to go see it. Brian Lowry, on the other hand, I'll just read his first and last paragraphs, right? So you'll get the opener and you'll get the ending here. His first paragraph. For all the violence in Bad Boys Ride or Die, and there's plenty, the fourth entry in a near 30-year-old franchise, the movie feels like a safe space for Will Smith, a strategic retreat after a string of prestige roles and that unfortunate Oscar slap. The result has that calculated, tired feel about it, with a few moments of kinetic action, but not enough to make the film play like anything more than a relic.
Mm.
He ends the piece by saying, in a classic example of bad guy dialogue, Eric Dane's character mutters after a failed attempt to eliminate Mike and Marcus, "These guys just refuse to die." The fourth Bad Boys might not be enough to kill them, but it does suggest they should emulate much of the Florida population, and when it comes to the buddy cop biz, consider retiring.
Oh, jeez.
A little bit brutal.
Yeah, I don't think that guy liked it at all. He's got a personal vendetta against Will Smith, apparently.
Not a fan of Will, it sounds like.
No.
All right, onto our film here. We watched Logan. I think this was just the second time I'd seen
It was
this.
second for me as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say up front, I gave this 4.5 out of 5.
I gave this a 4.
Look at you being consistent with Deadpool.
You know, can't pick favorites over here.
In 2029, no mutants have been born in 25 years, and an aging Logan suffers as his healing ability is failing. Working as a limousine driver in El Paso, Texas, he and mutant tracker Caliban take care of 97-year-old Charles Xavier, who looked really good for 97.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Founder of the X-Men and an abandoned smelting plant in northern Mexico. Xavier suffers from dementia that causes him to have destructive telepathic seizures, one of which injured 600 people and killed several X-Men the year prior. Logan reluctantly agrees to escort Gabriela Lopez, a former nurse for biotechnology corporation Alkali Transigen, and a young girl named Laura to Eden, a supposed refuge near the American-Canadian border. I want to stop for a second, because this is a comic storyline, and I love the fact that they work the comics into the universe here. Like, they reference them multiple times. Even him telling her, someone made this up. It's only like 25% true, if that,
But still
These things didn't
25%
happen.
true, though.
Huh?
Still 25% true, though.
There you
Still
go.
some truth to it.
After finding Gabriella dead, Logan is confronted by her killer, Donald Pierce, who is Transigen's cyborg chief of security. Pierce is looking for Laura, who is stowed away in Logan's limo and has powers similar to his. She, Logan, and Xavier escape from Pierce and his Reavers, but Caliban is captured. Pierce tortures Caliban into tracking Laura. Xavier and Logan watch a video on Gabriella's phone revealing Transigen created Laura and other children from mutant DNA to become weapons. The children proved challenging to control and were to be executed, but Gabriella and other nurses helped some escape. Xavier reveals to Logan that Laura was created from Logan's DNA and calls her Logan's daughter. In Oklahoma City, Logan discovers that Eden appears in Laura's X-Men comic and tells her it's fictional. The Reavers arrive, but Xavier has a seizure that incapacitates everyone except Logan and Laura, who kill the attackers and inject Xavier with his medication. As they flee, Dr. Xander Rice, the head of Transigen, arrives to help Pierce. Logan, Laura, and Xavier help farmer Will Munson and his family after a traffic accident, accepting an offer of dinner at their home where Logan drives off enforcers from a corporate farm. Rice unleashes X-24, a mindless clone of Logan in his prime created as Transigen's ultimate weapon. X-24 murders Will's family and Xavier before capturing Laura. Caliban sets off.
Scene.
It's brutal. It's brutal
scene.
too. It's brutal too because, he just has no mercy. He has no feelings. There's no stop button. It's just. Caliban sets off grenades, killing himself and several Reavers, but only injuring Pierce. Logan is outmatched by X-24, but Will pins X-24 with his truck before dying from his injuries. Logan and Laura escape with Xavier's body. After Barry, yeah, the scene where Charles is killed, because they don't really mention it specifically here. Um, he sees this younger version of Wolverine standing over him.
Mm-hmm.
He puts his closed fist on Xavier's chest, and then his
It's
claws
like,
come out
yeah,
and just
so cool. But like
it's
they glaze over it, like in the one that you're reading, because he believes that his Wolverine kills him, and that's just crazy to me, man. That just
yeah,
your caretaker's been taking care of you, and then
yeah, yep. After burying Xavier, Logan passes out. Laura takes him to a doctor and persuades him to prove that the site in North Dakota is not Eden. There they find Richter and other transigent children preparing to cross into Canada. Laura finds an adamantium bullet that Logan has kept since he escaped from the Weapon X facility, which he once considered using to commit suicide. Logan decides not to accompany them, to Laura's dismay. When the Reavers ambush the children, Logan takes an overdose of a serum given to him by Richter that temporarily enhances his healing abilities and boosts his strength. With Laura's help, he slaughters most of the Reavers before the serum wears off. As Pierce holds Richter at gunpoint, Rice tells Logan, who killed Rice's father years ago at the Weapon X facility, that no new mutants have been born due to genetically engineered crops created by Transigen and distributed through the world's food supply.
mm,
Logan, having found a gun, shoots Rice dead and injures Pierce. X-24 fights Logan as the children combine their powers to kill Pierce and the remaining Reavers. Richter uses his powers to flip a truck onto X-24, but X-24 frees himself and impales Logan on a large tree branch, mortally wounding him. Lara loads Logan's revolver with the adamantium bullet and shoots X-24 in the head, killing him. Near death, Logan tells Lara not to become the weapon she was made to be, and after she tearfully acknowledges him as her father, Logan dies peacefully in Lara's arms. She and the children bury Logan, and before they depart, Lara tilts the cross on his grave marker to create an X.
oh, what a awesome just into this movie.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Some sad news though, although I don't know how much I believe it. Daphne Keane, who plays Laura X-23, said she is not in Deadpool and Wolverine. So she said, "Oh, I would have loved to have been, but they never called her or anything. I'm just excited to see it, and I'm really excited to see that universe again." We've
I
heard
don't
that before,
know.
though. So
Yeah, I mean, I did, which these large movie studios have pull. So I did look at her IMDb to
mm,
see. It's not listed as a project.
so
Um, I say that and then watch. They've probably added it today.
let me look.
Uh,
Let me look at her. No.
um,
Oh, she's an
no,
acolyte. Oh,
yeah.
I need to watch that.
Um, but yeah, it. I wish they had a brought her in,
Well,
even
not
if it.
saying that she's not. So we will see. I'm curious.
Yeah, because it's only got Acolyte and then something called Whistle, and then one that's in pre-production called Night Comes. Um, so
Who knows? I mean, I like this movie. It's one of those that it's truly special. Um, and I felt like Hugh Jackman got to end Logan on his terms. I do wish we kind of watched it in between Deadpool 1 and 2, but that's neither here nor there. But man, what a good movie this was! Like the action was off the hooks. It was brutal.
mhm.
It's one of our first R-rated films, and they held back no punches whatsoever in this movie.
At the time that this was released, it was the highest, I think, highest grossing or maybe third highest grossing R-rated movie in history.
Yeah,
So,
it just shows you the power of nerds. Boy, out here.
so next week, instead of a movie, we're doing the first 3 episodes of The
Yeah,
Boys.
because they're dropping three at once. I mean, and we just have to watch them. We're not going to be behind
Yeah.
anymore on these TV shows. Damn it.
So we'll do that.
We didn't get to live out the moments of X-Men 97, so,
Yeah.
we're going to do it for the boys, damn it.
Yeah. And then from there, I don't know what we'll do movie wise. We have the MCU rewatch. We need to
Yeah.
get back to at some point.
There's also some like other film that I would like
Yeah,
to watch as well. So I mean, we'll have to think about it this week as we keep going. So
yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right, no notable news other than the Bad Boys review that I read.
flop,
Releases this week in cinemas June 14th. You have Inside Out 2.
which is going to be
That's
good.
it.
So
Yeah.
Amy Poehler, can't go wrong with Pixar. But ladies and gentlemen, this is one of our shorter episodes. But next week, I'm here to let you know, going to be a banger because it's going to be a long one. Will I yawn? We'll see. Because, when I
You
talk for a
will.
long time, I yawn. I almost did today, but oh, no, I didn't. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching and listening. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Nerdwide podcast. Don't forget to share on all your social media platforms and to share with your friends and family and everything like that as well. The more ears and eyes we get on the show, the more we can improve and be better for you, the listener and viewer. Social media, you can follow us, the Nerdwide account on Twitter, Threads, Insta, all of it, Facebook, we're everywhere. Just search Nerdwide Podcast or Nerdwide. First thing that pops up. But ladies and gentlemen, that has been this week's episode of the Nerdwide Podcast, and I am stoked to watch the rest of X-Men. Probably Monday or Tuesday night.
Yeah,
So, but until
definitely.
then, we will see y'all then.
Later, guys.